So because of the way I'm doing my new video format, I don't need to cover gold, silver, the miners, the DXY. I've done all that in the last 1 or 2 days. So let's go straight into it with the portfolio update, starting with Newmont. Newmont, the biggest boy on the block, has been underperforming the last 2 or 3 days, which is, I mean, during the rise, actually, I forgot when it was, but there were 1 or 2 days, probably the first two here, actually, now that I remember, it outperformed. I mean, it was really, absolute lows, right? We're talking approaching the March 2020 lows. So I bought this. I bought this down here, nibbled. I wasn't too aggressive because I wasn't sure with gold, but I think gold down there was like gold was at 1810. It was the turning point. And I nibbled quite a few seniors, very small stuff. Right, I'm not going to pretend it was heavy and I got the low. I wasn't sure, but I nibbled because I knew 18, 1810, 1800 was a level. So I think it was the seniors and a few silvers, but small stuff. But combined, it was nice. You know, it was a decent amount. Anyway, up we went. Nice. I wasn't sure whether this was it, but I wasn't. And I said it during one of the videos. I said, I'm not up for just doing a little in and out flip. Like, I don't know how much percentage move this is, maybe 5%. I'm not up for that. You know, I just bought new and I zoomed out. I knew what I bought, you know, senior big boy, nice dividend. There's no point in flipping it here. Thankfully, gold kept going. And at this point, it started to act in line with the others. But then, you know, when it hit this, for me, 40 was supposed to be a level. And I did sell a little bit at 40. I think I sold what I bought here at 40 in the end. And then it kept going. And I was a bit upset. Why did I do that? You know, against my new philosophy of just holding long term. But here we are. Basically, Newmont has underperformed the last 2 days. And this is without gold really retracing. Now, if you've seen my other videos, I think gold is going to retrace to 1950. Where will Newmont be? To be honest, it will probably get down to here, 38. It might as well. Not the best last 3 days. So really, it's a bit disappointing. Will I buy back? Maybe, actually, maybe. But Newmont is still, and it has been for a long time, my heaviest holding. And I wish it wasn't because it really has not outperformed. I mean, there are some other stocks that have done better, but not the worst. You know, there are some stocks that have absolutely been decimated, those juniors. So, you know, where's the resistance on the way up? Well, 41. Where's support on the way down? I think 38. After that, you probably have to look at gold and the GDX to get a better perspective. But for me, those are the two levels. Keep it simple. I might nibble at 38. It depends if I think gold really is stabilizing and is going to do what I think it's going to do, which is to go back up. If you're going to keep going down, then the next low will be down here. But to be honest, gold has to go to like low 1800s for that. And if 1950 is here, that's a huge move. You know, that's $150 move if it really is supposed to equate to the gold price in the same way as it did last time. So let's see. If we just curl and go up straight away, great. I'll just hold what I have, and I have really a lot because that's why it's my heaviest holding. So let's see. 38 on the way down, 41 on the way up for Newmont. Barrick Gold, look at that. Much better, right? Much better. I wish Newmont wasn't my heaviest holding. I wish, although to be honest, there's not much difference between these two now. My seniors are way, way heavier than my more aggressive silver holdings down here. So I'm happy to have done that because honestly, the juniors and the silver stocks have been pretty decimated, and they haven't actually made that much ground on this big bounce, to be honest. So another reason to be happy to have not allocated too much to the aggressive juniors. So Barrick Gold obviously outperforming Newmont. Nice move on the bounce. I'm not going to check how much of a percentage move. We can see that it's very, very nice. The descending, look at that, closed just there and then kept going. For me, these resistance levels are absolutely perfect. No need to change anything. You can see why I thought this was resistance and this 17 maybe, same thing, 16, 80, 17, pretty much the same thing. And where did we close? We closed just below 17, but we did close above this level here. So it's all good, but obviously it depends on gold and the miners, you know. You can see it gave up a lot, just like gold. But look, it outperformed the miners. Remember what the GDX close was. It was low of day, red candle, like topping, just total, you know, reversal kind of candle. So definitely outperforming the index. Let's see if we retrace, which I think we will do in gold and the miners a bit next week, early next week, Monday, Tuesday, maybe. Where do we go? This is pretty strong pattern. We could just retest the descending, but actually it might not go that low. That's quite a big move. But if it does, I think it will curl and go right back up. This has the intention to go higher. For me, Barrick Gold, obviously it's a big, one of the big top three, I would just say, just randomly like that. It's absolutely low. And if gold really is going to do what some people think it might do, which is start to go to new all-time highs, then the miners, starting with the big seniors, the big boys, like Barrick, like Newmont, like Agnico, they're going to have a lot of catching up to do. So maybe there's not going to be that much retracement. And on the way up, so on the way down, I'm just going to say the retest of the descending. I don't think we're going to go all the way down here and start filling gaps. I really don't see that. Gold needs to drop like $100 for that, maybe. So on the way up, I would still say 1750-ish. Otherwise, up here, yeah, basically $18, roughly $18. And it might, if we start to go a bit parabolic in the sector, I don't think we're going to care about 1750. I think it'll be 18 actually. I'll leave 1750 anyway. You can see anyway, because you can see why, little sideways move there. You know what? Let's be a bit aggressive. Let's see. $18. Let's go for $18. So either we go $18 of resistance on the way up, otherwise a little retest of this and then back up to 18. And then we'll see about 20. Big round number, clear resistance. And honestly, by the time we get there, we might start encountering this descending. Let me just readjust this. You see that here? Ooh, that would be a magnet, 2021 resistance there. Look at that on the way up. That would be a nice, strong place to sell. Just nibble a little bit out, buy the obvious retracement, and then break out. Depends what's going on back there. All right, Agnico. Same sort of candle as GDX, makes sense. Look what happened to gold, closed at low of, not a low of day, gave it back a lot, just like gold, and closed pretty much near low of day, even though it was green, just like GDX. GDX was actually red, but same sort of candle. Makes sense because these three really do make up the GDX, along with a few others. So a bit of a rejection of this zone here, this $50 big number. It'd be good if it closed above 50, but it didn't. If we retrace, I would normally say retest the descending, but it's too close. So maybe we go a bit lower. Hard to call. Maybe the low of this candle, 48, sort of 80. Or do we go a little lower, maybe 48, big round number? There's no obvious level of support for this one until you get to roughly this zone here, 46, 70 in my opinion. It's just because of these candles down here and also here, just three candles that were influenced by that level. So it's not very clear. I'd probably look at gold. Maybe the GDX has a better level, but otherwise, this should be one of the prime candidates, one of the top seniors. This is my best miner, actually, in my opinion. So to go higher. So let's see. I'd be looking at gold, GDX for levels on the way down because it's not too clear. But on the way up, obviously, let's look for a close above 50 first. And after that, we should zoom up to about 53, right? You can see why I say that. Just these candles over here, a bit of support on these candles there. Also, if I was to extend this, you could see it was a bit resistance there. So for me, it's a mini resistance level, not very clear. A clearer, stronger resistance would be this one here, 54.5-ish, let's say, because you can see it was resistance there. There's also support here. But let's see, like I said, I think we're going to have a little bit of a drop and then a move up. So let's see if Agnico-Eagle does that too. Pan American Silver, ooh, it's a shame. It was really doing, I think it was up like 4% at some point on Friday, and then I saw where it closed. So where was where was Thursday's close? It was there. Look at that, 5% almost, and then it closes basically only 0.5%. What a shame. You can see this was one of the levels I had identified before. I've not moved these. Kind of makes sense. Kind of was resistance. It was gap fill zone, wasn't it? That's why. So trying to fill the gap. It kind of did fill the gap, right? And just closed so much lower. But again, that's because of the sector and it's because of gold. So what happens if gold does retrace? Well, I do think this is still a zone. Look at that. You can see why that's a support zone, and it did actually support on Thursday. So let's see. I do think Pan American Silver should find very strong support. Remember where it is. Remember what it is. Look at these support zones. I mean, this is very cheap. And if gold's going to start doing a 2100 run and silver's going to start catching up to 25, 26, 27, GDXJ has a lot of catching up to do. And Pan American Silver is one of the only big, very bullish in my opinion. Silver seniors, right? I mean, it just didn't quite. Yamana also another monster. So this deserves to be so much higher. So on the way down, where's the first support? 15. But look, that'll be easy. We're at 15.30. So if we lose $30 in gold, you could easily imagine going there. Then do we retest this zone? Does the ascending come back into play? It's very rough ascending support. You can see it dates back from a long time though, so it should be very significant. But it's probably off by a few millimeters. But this area, you know, whatever you want to call it, like 1450-ish. There's no obvious level here, let's say, but this zone should be strong buying, because whether we get there, I mean, if we get there, because you know, that's pretty low. Then you're just a couple of cents away from the absolute low of 1350. And I don't think we're going there again. What a monster buy that is. And I did buy that zone. Like I said, I was buying these seniors when gold was at the 18, 10, 15, 20 zone. And it was there for 3-4 days. You know, there was no excuse to nibble. You got to have some conviction in your long-term thesis. So support on the way down, 15. If it goes lower, not obvious, but this zone, if we get there. On the way up, I still think despite these candles, normally these are this creates a lot of resistance, but I think it's just because of what the sector did. I do think it can still go up. So obviously for me, this is resistance 1580. I think if we start moving up to 1985 in gold, 1990, you will see Pan America there. But I don't think it's going to really close unless we start crossing the 2000 line, you know? If we do cross 2000, start to run, Pan America should really come all the way up here. And this is very clear resistance, right? You can't just walk through here. So 1680, and this is going to be before 1700. I think 1680, if you really want to sell, 1679, 1678. But yeah, let's have a close. You know, if we do start to run up, you'd want to see a close basically above 1700. Then you can run to the next level, which is around here, maybe here actually, 1820, maybe 1800. But with what's going on, I mean, imagine what's going on there. You've got gold at 2100, 2050, 2080. I mean, people should just be storming into these stocks. They could just start to really squeeze because they got so much catching up to do, especially reputable names like this. You know, we're not talking about some junior junkie kind of stock which no one knows, although those should also go parabolic. So yeah, you know, support on the way down 15. Otherwise, it's going to scrap down here 1450, 1460. We'll see. But on the way up, I think it's pretty clear. It's the last high, 1580, this gap fill zone. And then the all-important $17 zone. Wheaton precious metals. So this one, nice bounce, bit of resistance. At least it closed green. Support on the way down. It's not too obvious. Maybe, I mean, the last candle low, let's be honest, the last candle low down here, 42, let's say 30-ish. If that fails, then I think a $30 drop in gold would do that, because that's what I think will happen. Maybe 41.50. After that, it's just a bit hard to call, you know, it's all a bit choppy. Maybe round numbers, maybe 41, but I don't think we'll get to 41 on a $30 drop. But we could, you know. The miners have underperformed for a long time. They might as well underperform it. Well, they could underperform again. If they do, then we would probably get to 41. But then I expect Wheaton to bounce and go back up, because I expect the whole sector would do that. And I'm just wondering whether there's a descending. I don't want to overdo it. No, I think really clearly the next level of resistance, you know, so let's say we do that, we go down a bit, we curl, and we start to move up, and we start to close above the last, you know, the Friday high, 44, close above 44 is the first step. After that, basically 45 to 45.50, you should get a lot of resistance there. Maybe I should draw a descending line, but, you know, 45 and then 45.50, these little two over here. Let's close above, let's clear 45.50, and then bam, you can start running to 47, and then the old highs down here, up here, sorry. But look, like I've said for a few videos, I've mentioned Wheaton. I like it. It's very strong defensively on the way down. It's good to hold. It doesn't go down as much, but on the way up, you know, it's not going to go up crazy percentage points. So I'm not really too focused on how much I can make. It's about how much I can save whilst being into it, whilst being invested in it, because on the way up, you know, plus 20% move takes you all the way up to the absolute highs. You know, we're talking about all-time highs. So at least this is one of the stocks that's moving kind of in line with gold. You know, by that I mean How many? Look at Newmont. You know what I mean? All-time highs, nowhere near it. Barrick Gold, nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. Look at this 2011 highs. That's something that can make a lot of percentage moves. And this is a serious stock. You know, it's better than Wheaton, I would say. But Wheaton, it holds its own. So very nice defensive stock. And for that reason, I don't think it'll go down too much on a $30 drop. But yeah, those are the levels that I'm watching for Wheaton. Let's look at the silver, the more aggressive silver stocks now. First Majestic, well known. Looks like, I'll just readjust it. Looks like this was clear resistance just before $6. Get out the way. So, but look at this clear rejection. Obviously, the miners went down, gold went down, so clear rejection. So let's see if we can clear $6 on the way up. If we continue lower, honestly, I feel like, I don't know why I didn't have this already in, but this kind of level, what's that? That's 530. That seems to be a bit of resistance there, so I should expect it to be support. So 530 actually. Yeah, 530 on the way down should be a good place to buy. If it goes lower, I mean, can't imagine it going much lower. But it has been pretty weak overall. I mean, look where it's trading, for goodness sake. This is ridiculous. But, you know, I still think we're going to curl and go back up. That's what I think is going to happen in gold and the miners. So let's say we do go down to 530, or maybe we don't. Who cares? If we go higher, if we start to close above 596, this descending line, I mean, I'm sure it will have an effect. I'm sure it will have an effect. In fact, there might even be a second one. And these are my favorite lines. Look at this one here. Does that count? Maybe. You know, it kind of coincides a bit. The point is, even if this one doesn't count, and it might actually, I can't believe I didn't see that before. And I don't like how many lines there are here. For me, this is the maximum. And you know, this one I could delete, even though it's long term. I think it's done its job. There, it's a bit clearer. You know, let's say we start breaching 596. Bam, you squeeze up here, and then okay, a bit of resistance. And it coincides with this resistance, 630. Okay, you cleared 6. Let's calm down, go down a bit. Once you clear 640, 650, that's a squeeze. Think about it. Think about that. 650, that's a squeeze. Straight away at 7. And it depends what's happening. You know, if gold and silver are really going up, you could start to see some serious move, like $8. Very quickly, $8. Where did that come from? Just, you know, Reddit boards or whatever. Everyone's just rushing into it. Squeeze. Silver squeezes on. And that's a big move from where we are here. And this is a serious stock. So First Majestic is not some, you know, average startup. So it's been there for a long time. It's well established and it's well known. So I'm actually quite bullish First Majestic. It's not had the best moves. It's obviously at its absolute lows, but I think people need to remember the sector and what's possible. And this is a squeeze candidate. I've seen squeezes in this before. Look at this. These are ridiculous moves. These are squeezes. I think that was the silver squeeze. So looking forward to that. First Majestic. Fortuna. Fortuna was okay. You know, it did have bad news. So actually, I thought it's held up quite well given the bad news. And I think, you know, I don't like all these the geography, the Mexican mines. It's not the best, but I think a lot of bad news is priced in a lot of these Mexican silver stocks. But anyway, you know, decent bounce, not incredible. You can see it wanted to keep going. For me, this was resistance 320. Looks like $3 was more resistance than 320, but you know, almost got there, 316. Closed near low of day, just like the GDX, just like GDXJ actually also. And where's it going to go? I think we're going to go lower because I think gold's going to go lower, maybe 290. Can you see why I say that? A couple of candles down there, a couple of resistance here, a couple of support, maybe 290, you know, flush 3 and keep going. And then a curl, and let's see if we can go back up. And for me, once you close above 3, yeah, this zone here, maybe a little higher, basically 325, let's say 3, especially 330. Once you start to clear this zone, it should be clear skies all the way to test almost 4. I think you get into resistance before 4. On the way down, well, I covered that, didn't I? I said 290. If we keep going, then retest at the descending. It'd be very unfortunate if we start to go all the way back down there. But let's see, you know, if silver starts to squeeze, then that's what you need. You just need silver to squeeze for a lot of these. So, but I mean, just remember where you are. This is a decent stock, you know. So I expect this to run up, and 100% is certainly doable. Certainly doable in a couple of weeks. on a real silver squeeze. But you know, we're far from this 10 zone, that's for sure. But look, you're at 3, so you could start seeing gold at new all-time highs in like 2-3 weeks from now, or even 1.5. So, you know, silver, I mean, this is probably worth a buy, isn't it? So let's see. All right, EXK, these two really remind me of each other, like EXK and FSM. So we had a clear rejection here on this Wednesday. That was not the best candle. A nice attempt to mount another offensive here on Thursday, but then look, Friday wasn't the best. So this is very weak, you know, I'm not going to lie, this is very weak. The resistance here around 250, I think it did kind of play its role on this day. It was cleared, but look how much resistance. I'm not sure. It almost looks like there's news. I don't think there was, but I could be ignorant of that. I think we're going to have a drop, don't I? So down we go. How much lower? I don't know, but this is really oversold in my opinion. 235, 230s, low 230s. After that, Jesus, we're pretty much at the absolute lows. So I think this is worth a buy, to be honest, EXK. But it's very weak compared to the others. Surprised it's weaker than Fortuna because that one had bad news recently. And I don't think EXK did. So yeah, maybe low 230s on a drop. Honestly, if gold starts to really flush, like 1950 doesn't hold, and now we go down to 1900s, or you know, start to dip into the 1800s, this thing is going to make new lows, you know, and then probably wants to test, yeah, this zone. I've had these candles say $2 something. Oh, that would be really horrific stuff for EXK. That would not be nice. So what can save it? Well, the gold and silver price going up along with the miners. But you'd really need to clear this zone, like 260, close above 260, preferably close above this high here of this candle, 265. Then you can, this is clear support and resistance for me. But if you start to clear 265, this is not too far away, so you should easily touch that. Close above 280, and then up we go. But again, for this, honestly, this stock is really underperforming. Could be the worst one now that I look at it like this. So not good. That's the support, low 230s. Resistance, let's say 265 for now, and then 280. And then let's see, maybe we can start to test $3, which will also be resistance. Okay, now I'll look at CDE, which I've lost on my trading view. This is one of my favorites to play for a big bounce. To be honest, I was expecting a bit more. This doesn't look like much. Let's just check, you know, from the lows all the way up to the highs, 30, 40%. That's okay. That's okay. But it was actually holding its own quite well. I remember when gold was sort of testing its lows, 18, this had already held. So it outperformed just before the rise. Then it sort of acted average. There were 1 or 2 days where it had like 13% moves, but it gave some back before the close. But look, clear support, clear resistance, and we cleared it. But look, gave some back. It's fighting around that level, this 265 zone. You know, I think we're going to go low. So maybe we retest 250. Do we go lower than that? Maybe during the day, but then we close a bit higher. But I think around 250, 245, 250, we could go around there if gold's at 1950. And then, because also look at this resistance here. It was resistance around here, wasn't it? 245. So probably 245 actually, now that I look at it a bit more in detail. It's only 5 cents difference around this level, you know. So maybe we get a bit of support there, curl and go back up. If we go lower, then it's going to be, and again, I don't see this happening, but you've got to anticipate, you know, both scenarios. Let me clear this actually. I'm well aware of that long-term resistance. So yeah, around there, if it goes low around here, but I don't think we're going to get a big drop in gold that will take it there, but it could. But then once we curl on the way up, you just really want to clear the last high, this 280, you know, 280. Close above 280, and then you start to run, and this thing will squeeze, and I think we'll squeeze it right past 3. And actually, if gold starts to cross 2000, I think we're doing it. This one will scream. Cross 2000, gold starts to go to 2020. This thing will just 320s, 330s. And who knows, maybe even more. I mean, if any sector deserves a squeeze, it'll be this one, especially certain mines, and CD is one of them. I mean, come on, you know, short covering at least. So let's see, 280, close above 280, and then we squeeze to the 320, 330 zone. All right, let's look at Discovery, another one that is completely underperforming and worthy of a squeeze. Certainly underperforming. I mean, remember what the gold chart looks like? Remember the 100 to almost $200 move we've had? Where's that in Discovery's price? It's non-existent. So that's not good. If we have a drop of $30 in gold, probably do go back down to the low 45 or something. 45 cents, that is 46 cents. So could even make new lows if we keep going lower in gold. And that's, you know, Discovery and EXK for me are really weak charts and definitely can make new lows if gold starts to cascade lower more than I think it will. If we start to go higher, well, I would say first test is 50, 54-ish. I mean, come on, we should be clearing that easily, especially if silver starts to outperform gold, if gold starts to cross 2000. So definitely 54. And after that, honestly, it's probably going to be around 64 because by then we're going to encounter this descending resistance. And look how relevant it is. Look how many times it touches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, that's, you can't ignore that. You know, I might be off by a few centimeters. So maybe by the time it gets all the way up here, it's 1 cent more, but whatever, you know. So for me, 54, 55. After that, probably here, 64. Like I said, 65. It could be 65. Look, it was a high here. Also a few times here. So maybe 65. But then once you cross, if you cross 70 cents, then we squeeze. And I don't even know if this will act as resistance at that point. It might have done back here. That's why I had it. But once you start to close above 70 and you've taken out this descending, and you know what's going on in the silver price, it's going to 25, 26. Jesus, this should really be a squeeze candidate, just like Coeur d'Alene. So yeah, I used to own too much, but as it drops, the value drops. So now I'm okay with what I hold. I think I nibbled down here. If I didn't, it doesn't matter. I own a decent amount, and if it starts to squeeze, it starts to be worth a lot. Actually, it quickly starts to rise the ranking scale. Actually, I might nibble some out because I'm not happy with it. So I want to make sure I don't get too excited and allocate too much to it. So now let's look at some other ones. The silver ones are done. Now I'm looking at some more miscellaneous mines that I own, starting with Aris Mining. This one used to be called Gran Colombia, a very good one. Its chart is really weird. It was basically doomed for bankruptcy, and then its balance sheet was resurrected, and now it's a lot healthier. So, but anyway, you know, it had very good news recently, and it didn't make new lows like the others because it had such good news. I mean, it retraced like the others. So this one should really be primed to move. It's got good news. And the gold price has gone up a lot, and it's got good dividend and healthy balance sheet, whatever, lots of good reasons to own it. Technically, it just needs to, you know, squeeze above this descending, and to really make sure you do it, close above 280. Let's get a squeeze above 280. I don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, I think gold will retrace, so maybe we go lower. I don't know how low it'll go. Probably 220 to 230 worst case scenario. I don't see it going lower than that. There's probably a good buy down there, but otherwise, first test is 260. You can see we were unable to close above 260 on these couple of occasions here. So let's just close above 260 and then really 280. So 260 to 280 will get a bit of resistance, but after that, it should start to squeeze right past 3, and you can see the horizontal lines I've got. So Aris Mining, good hold, in my opinion. Let's look at MAG. Silver. Yeah, the descending worked again, didn't it? Let me just readjust it. So first thing to do is to close above this descending, and why not just be sure 1160, then you've cleared these candles. So 1160, we should start to squeeze right past this candle here, $12. I think if you close above 1160, you kind of go straight through 12. It should be resistance, but I don't think it would be. And then you go straight to up here, 1250. But again, you know, imagine what's happening. You've got gold squeezing. Why would you sell? I wouldn't be selling these little zones. I'm not selling these little levels. You know, I identify them. I understand that you might have some intraday resistance, maybe 1 or 2 days worth, but I'm not up for selling. We just look where we are. You know, these are good stocks. Actually, MAG was one of my least favorite ones, but recently had very good news, so I decided to hold on to it, but I didn't add. But yeah, let's see. Close above 1160, clear these, the descending, and then start to squeeze. Let's see what happens. If we start to go lower, because obviously I think gold will go lower, you know, maybe this low of Thursday, they've all got a Thursday low candle that they first have to close below. Otherwise, you know, I look 1025, maybe you could see the low here and there. But think about it, that's like gold giving up a lot of like $100. So let's see. You know, I probably watch the GDX and gold chart more for that. There's only 3 left. Let's look at Gogold. Oh, this one's not bad compared to the others. Obviously, it hasn't moved up too much, but just that Friday close, not that bad, given that it closed near high of day and it's a good candle. So yeah, let's see if we can close above $1. $1, big round number, especially 102, just to clear that high of Wednesday. And then bam, look at this descending. This is pretty obvious to me. Let's squeeze above that and get to 114. Might as well draw that one in. That's quite a nice little zone to close above. So let's see, close above 1 and then squeeze above this descending, but 114 is what you want. And then you can start considering this 130 zone, 129. That's what I see. On the way down, again, very difficult to call, probably 90 cents support. And then after that, 85 cents. I don't have too much in this one, so I'm not too bothered about if it goes down. And I think there's another, yeah, look at this resistance here from a long time ago. Look, support, resistance, resistance. So that should be 70 cents, should be a buy zone. But, you know, I wonder what's happening if we really are going that low. Okay, K92, nice move with gold. That's good to see. It came from the absolute depths also, but look at that reversal. That was needed. If we go lower, maybe this old zone of 5, you know, it's hard to call. Let's say 540, 550, 560. Maybe that zone becomes a bit of a buy, becomes another support zone as it was down here a little bit, let's say. So maybe 540, like I said, 540-ish, maybe a bit higher if gold drops. And then let's see if we can clear above 6. 6 should be your first resistance, the old high from that Wednesday. They all have that too, that Wednesday high candle. Close above that, and then you can start running to the next resistance, which for me is 660. But it's a good stock. You know, I bought it because it was underperforming the others, and I was looking for something to chase because I thought a long time ago the metals were going to squeeze, and they didn't. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. 540 and then 6, and on the way up after that 660, and then got this descending to deal with. But it's a good stock. Now, final stock, Metalla. This one, a bit like Discovery and EXK, really underperforming. I mean, where's the representation of almost $200 move? And you know, this stock here, I believe Peter Schiff wanted to get it at $4. I remember he made a podcast, and I listened to pretty much all his podcasts, and he was complaining he was unable to get Metalla at 4. I think he went down and then it popped, and his buy didn't get filled. I forgot when it was. I think it was a few months ago. Whatever. It was before this flush, that was for sure. It was when it pumped, actually. It was probably around here. Anyway, if Peter Schiff likes it, I like it. But then, since then, what's it done is flushed a lot. So if he liked it at 4, I like it a lot at 280. I mean, how much of a drop? You know, I'm getting it 35% cheaper today. But think about it. If gold drops $30, do we make new lows? Yeah, we probably do. We probably do go below 280. You know, we probably do go below this low here, 270. So why have I got this kind? I mean, it's hard to say where the next, yes, this was resistance, 250. It's a big, yeah, 250 is a psychological number, I guess. Well, let's see. No clear support because we're below the March 2020 lows. Crazy. Obviously down here, $2 is clear support, psychological, so you can see it here. But I don't think I need to, well, go on, I'll do it anyway. You can see there's resistance at the very beginning and support after, and it's a psychological number, but I'll leave it in anyway. So I don't think we'll get all the way there unless gold really gives up all its gains. and goes all the way back up to 1,800, maybe we do go to $2, but I think 250 is possible if we start to drop $30 and maybe even a bit more. And like I said, Metalla Royalties, good name, good reputation, and honestly, when I heard that Schiff wanted it on that podcast, I never forgot it, and I put it on my radar. And when I started to see this drop, I decided to nibble in. So I'll end with EGO. I don't own this one, but I was asked to cover it, so I'm seeing it for the first time actually in a few trading days. Very nice. I should have owned it. Close above the descending, highest close for a long time. Very good. Very good. You know, close above this resistance here. That's very good actually. So next stop really is, yeah, like I said, $11. It's just that I do expect gold to go lower. So maybe we start to drop a bit. Is $10 support? It could be, but I expect to go a little lower than $10. So maybe intraday $10 is support. And then after that, I don't know why I see 960, a bit of these two candles here, resistance there, also a few times here. Yeah, maybe 10, and then after that 960. And actually, once you get to 960, you're hitting the descending again. So maybe 960 is a good area to buy, but you'd have to look at gold, see what that's doing. But yeah, 960 and 10 could be little levels if there's a pullback, but very, very bullish. Very nice. It closed above the Wednesday close for sure. And above this level here. So well done for owning that, Eldorado. That's support, that's resistance. All right, that'll do. I think this this video went on quite some time. I'm trying to make shorter videos, but my portfolio videos are always the longest ones. I hope you appreciate the detail and the transparency of it. And let me know what you think. And hopefully we get higher gains in our miners, whether there is a pullback or not. So otherwise, have a good weekend.